We on here early. Everybody hit the like button as you come in. But this is a topic I want to talk about. I know people gonna have a problem with what I say, but I don't care. Out of all the topics I've seen over the past few years, when it comes to ducking, everybody to put out more extreme videos when it comes to ducking than this one would be. So this one is actually factual. This is not gonna be something I'm up here saying how I feel or nothing. This is just straight facts. That's all I'm saying. So today I'm speaking all facts. For anybody wondering. So today, it is a fact that Jake Paul is bigger than Terence Crawford, right? It is a fact that Jake Paul will be fighting a real boxer in his next fight. An active boxer. And it's also a fact that with Jake Paul, who just weighed 228 around Thanksgiving last year, it is also a fact that he will be getting passed for fighting 135 Tank Davis. Actually taken serious right now. So I don't want to hear everybody talking, oh, that's not even a real fight. Bro, we passed that. It's 2025. Everything a real fight. So Jake Paul is getting the opportunity to fight Tank Davis, and everybody's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Okay, cool. So people said that Tank Davis is fighting, and that's facts, right? So people said that Tank Davis is fighting Jake Paul because of a payday, right? Facts, right? That's the only reason they say he's fighting him. Payday, right? Facts, right? And I don't think that's the reason why. The only reason why. I don't think that's the only reason why. I'll say that. It's two more reasons, but I probably ain't. It don't. It's not with this topic. But Jake Paul is almost 100 pounds more than what Tank was on fight night against Mike Tyson. Almost 100 pounds more. Think about that. So he was about 93 pounds more in the Tyson fight than when Jake was against Roach. And those fights was what, 3 or 4 months apart? Really 3 months apart, 3.5. So it's also a fact that Terence Crawford and Tank fought in the same weight class. That's definitely a fact. What's going on, Kent? What's going on, man? What's going on, John? Yeah, people definitely over him. Oh, people still rocking with him though. Trust me, they definitely still rocking with him. That's why they still rocking with him. That's why I wish somebody would say something. They gave Mike Tyson, the old man, more criticism, and people don't like that I'm calling stuff out like this, but I don't care. Y'all say everything else, so this is on the table, and this is facts too. Mike Tyson got more criticism than Tank Davis is getting right now. Mike Tyson, think about that. Like, who is taking boxing to the point where you got dudes that weren't even alive when Mike Tyson was boxing Holyfield talking about what he can't do? Like, the nerve of these dudes. And they look at me crazy talking about boxing. These dudes weren't even alive when Mike Tyson was boxing. Someone said, "Oh, you need to do this." Bro, y'all don't know that dude. Fall back. But when Tank, y'all rolling out the red carpet. Man, come on, man. Then the dude talking about Terence Crawford. Why? You ain't gonna fight him? You was in the same weight class as this dude, and you not gonna fight him. Was in the same weight class. He fought Barrios though, right? Yeah, I saw that. And then Crawford was basically 10 pounds up when he was at 30. Then you at 30 and you ain't even fighting Loma. You ain't fighting Loma at 30. You couldn't move up 5 or 10 pounds to fight a Crawford. But you putting yourself in that conversation. But you'll move up 100 pounds to fight Jake Paul, though. And the man said he'll knock out Terence Crawford. And he has nothing lined up, really. He has a fight with Jake Paul. He can still fight Terence Crawford right now. If we talking about Tank fighting for a payday, his biggest payday right now would be Terence Crawford in boxing, period. Nobody can have that conversation with me. The biggest fight right now he could have is Terence Crawford right now. Terence Crawford said the only fight he would have stayed at 47.5 was Tank Davis. And Tank wanted no smoke. He was quiet. He didn't tweet. He didn't type. He didn't get on the phone. He didn't make it happen. But with Jake Paul, he pulling Jake Paul to the fight. Man, come on, man. This dude got relationships with opponents. But you don't want to fight Terence Crawford, though? Why? That doesn't make sense to me. If he is on Terence Crawford level, he will fight Terence Crawford. He would do what Terence Crawford did. And then people say, "Oh, he ain't that big." We gonna see how much he weigh when he fight Jake Paul. If the man is over 147 when he fights Jake Paul, I want to hear nothing. And if he isn't, if he's walking around 145 fighting Jake Paul, that's why that fight ain't gonna be sanctioned. Nah, that's not gonna happen. They won't even do that in a celebrity fight. So yeah, that's a clear duck in my eyes. You got a guy who's coming into boxing, trying to fight real boxers. And then, oh yeah, I'll move up for Jake Paul and give him a 100-pound advantage, basically. But you wouldn't fight a guy who was at 135? We're talking about a guy who was at 135. Like, think about it. When Marquez fought Mayweather, he was like, okay, Mayweather was at 135. When they was like, Marquez fight Canelo, he was like, bro, Canelo ain't never been no 135. So if that doesn't make sense to anybody, if people know Mayweather's career as much as they act like they do, that would make sense to them. Dude, clearly ducking. Clearly ducking. Like, let's talk about it for real. That's the biggest fight in boxing that can be made right now. And that's a realistic fight because he just went up and picked the fight with Jake Paul. It's over with. He's in the conversation, really. Terence Crawford used to be at 135 and you ain't gonna fight him? I bet he'll try to fight Devin Haney still. Devin Haney moved up, but I bet he gonna still try to fight him. He gonna need that get back. Since that video came out, oh yeah. That video coming out guarantees that he gonna need his get back. They don't even talk about that no more because they know what's up. We know who won that sparring match. That conversation of, oh, Haney ducking Tank, that went away real quick. So I know he gonna try to get that get back. But he said he'll fight the guy. He'll swing on him allegedly. So do it for a bag. That'll be the biggest bag Tank will be able to get. He can't get no bigger bag with nobody else. If Canelo got 150 with Terence Crawford giving out bags. So if you don't want to fight him, you ain't trying to fight nobody. Oh, Crawford is 68. Yeah, last week. Yeah, last week. Come on now. What you gonna do? You gonna gain all this weight? Then you gonna go back to 135? Wow. See what I'm saying? People gonna say, oh, he a 35 though. What he gonna do? He gonna gain all this weight, then he gonna go back to 35? That's the same thing Crawford doing. So this man can do the same thing Crawford doing. Leave the same weight class Crawford was at. But can't fight him. Call the man out, can't fight him. That don't make no sense to me. Like, that really needs to be talked about. He could fight Jake Paul, but not Terence Crawford. Jake Paul ain't finna give you a bigger bag than Terence Crawford right now. People want to see. People have actually talked about Terence Crawford versus Tank. And I know people gonna be like, man, this dude talking about this. This dude finna fight Jake Paul, homie. Fall back. Your boy finna fight Jake Paul. A lot of commissions don't even know this dude if it's gonna be a safe fight. He's finna fight Jake Paul. You see how these guys are? Their mind is already messed up. They won't take Terence Crawford versus Tank serious, but they'll take Jake Paul versus Tank serious. Boxing has to go to rehab. If the mind is thinking like that, it's over with. Oh, he's good enough for Jake Paul, but Terence Crawford, no, it's a guy who used to be at one. Jake Paul was never at 135. What are you talking about? Jake Paul wasn't at 135 since elementary school. What are we talking about? I'm talking about Terence Crawford, who was in his 20s at 135. We're not talking about a Jake Paul who was at 135, before he was in his teens. Come on now. Let's be real. This is not a small guy he's going up against. So the size thing doesn't matter. You keep talking about the guy like you want to fight him. Fight him. Facts. And y'all can use that. Facts. And this is not no trolling or nothing, because I usually don't do the duck videos or this guy's ducking. This is a duck. This is a real duck. This is a realistic, 100% factual. People gonna walk through here the facts and be like, oh, you see how dudes? Facts. That's why I'm gonna keep talking like this until it's over with. People have no problem hearing the facts like this. People want to hear facts still. We don't want to hear guys wake up and be like, oh, Crawford should fight this person. These dudes on fantasy fight mode. Let Turkey out of shit do the fantasy fights. And you guys worry about your favorite fighter fighting Jake Paul instead of a real boxer who used to be at 135, actually getting belts. You'll fight the guy on the street for free, but after Canelo just got $150 million, You're not gonna fight the guy? Well, why talk then? I don't want to hear the guy. If he's not gonna fight, throw an offer out there. If you got to fight a guy on the street, if you need security, well, don't talk. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear nobody talk that needs security. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, I don't want to hear about no conversation like that. Call out guys you actually want to fight. People are not going to hold this guy. Tank fought Gamboa. Man, y'all don't get out of here. Bro, I'm a real Tank Davis fan. Yeah, I've been watching this guy for over 10 years. He fought Gamboa, bro. Like, cut it out, bro. He fought Gamboa. Like, I ain't even trying to get into it, but I'm going to get into it. The man fought Gamboa in 2019. Come on, man. The man fought Gamboa. Just because Terence Crawford jumping weight classes. Yeah. Got to think about that. This man fought Gamboa after Terence Crawford did. That's why I bring that fight up, because people like try to make it seem like Gamboa was easy work in that fight. No, he wasn't. They don't even like talking about the fight. He wasn't easy work. That's one thing about Crawford, man, or a guy like Spence. If they call somebody out, if they going back and forth with you, they gonna fight you. I don't want to hear nobody like Tank being compared to put over no guys like Tank and Spence or no Crawford. When they call guys out or they go back and forth with anybody, they gonna go in the ring with you. Especially if we've been in the same weight class before. What? We was in the same weight class? We fought the same guy before? Probably not at the same time. We were in the same weight class. Yeah, come on, man. We know what time it is. We know what time it is. We definitely know. Some other guys, they got to take real fights. They need the guys like Haney for the real fights. And you need guys like this for pillow talk. Because anybody walking around talking about he can knock out Terence Crawford, prove it. I need him to prove it. And the size conversation is over with because he took the Jake Paul fight. So this is people can talk about this forever. This ain't no fantasy fight no more. Make it happen. Shout out to Joseph Baylor. What's going on? This ain't no fantasy fight. Terence Crawford used to be at 135. Tank used to be at 135. Well, he is at 135. Both of these guys fought Gamboa. Tank has been to 140. Terence Crawford was just at 47. Said that he would stay at 47 just to fight Tank. Then Tank goes and fights a guy 100 pounds heavier than he is. Nah, that ain't it. I don't know who's covering boxing these days, but I ain't going for that. No, sir, not me. No, I'm covering boxing. This ain't no fan pages over here. If we gonna call guys out and we talking about we from the hood and everything else, and you got a bag behind you, nah, you can't have a plug behind you, and you ain't trying to make no moves, nah. And they acting like he was in the streets. Hey, you got a bag behind you can get the biggest bag right now. A bigger bag than the Jake Paul bag. And people say, oh, that's an easy bag. Well, he ain't trying to fight no fights then. He looking for easy fights, then that makes sense then. If he wants the easy fights, then that makes sense. I don't know why he's in the conversation as the best. I don't know why we're having arguments or anything about him being in the conversation of the best. He's not trying to be the best. If you fighting Jake Paul and you need that type of bag to fight Jake Paul, then you ain't the best. Canelo don't need Jake Paul to get that type of bag. He just got a big bag without a Jake Paul. With a guy who people said nobody knows. Yeah, just did that. The way I'm looking at it, Tank need Jake Paul, like I said in the live a couple weeks ago. But look what Terence Crawford did though. Canelo got that fight, got 150. If somebody can get $150 million doing business with you, yeah, you big time. He wasn't getting that bag when he was fighting Skull. Yeah, we know what time it is. So if it's about the money, and you'll fight a big guy like Jake Paul, you're gonna risk everything fighting Jake Paul, who's almost 250 at one point. You're gonna risk that chance. You fighting the heavyweight. But you ain't gonna take a chance to fight a guy who's at 135, who you keep calling out and said you'll basically fight for free allegedly on the street. Yeah, that don't make a whole lot of sense. But he the only one talking like this. So let that be known. He the only one saying this about Terence Crawford. So he pump faking. He Manu Ginobili. He pump faking, Euro stepping, spin moving. Yeah, this definitely a pump fake. And I feel like this is kind of using Terence Crawford name to kind of, you know, get some kind of hype going. Because I don't know how we go from Lamont Roach to Terence Crawford all of a sudden. Like, did Tank forget that Roach, he fought Roach last fight? That's what I'm saying, man. Do what Roach doing. Roach jumping weight classes. Roach jumping from 30. See, everybody gonna want to talk about this. Roach doing what Tank Davis should be doing right now. Fighting whoever. Roach going from 30 to 40. He even said he'll go to 47. People like, oh man, he capping. He went to 40. Well, he going to 40. So yeah, some guys do it. They ain't got to sit up here and brag about it, call people out, be online going back and forth with dudes they could really get in the ring with, but then go fight a bigger guy. That's embarrassing. How you fighting guys bigger than Terence Crawford, but you won't fight Terence Crawford? It looks weird to me. He said blood performance on Canelo should have real boxing fans scratching their head about all these so-called faces of boxing. Oh, absolutely. That's why this video I'm doing right now is mandatory. It definitely is. Because people are talking about, well, Tank went to 140. So what? So what? Did he go to 168? Did he go from 135 to 168? That's all I'm waiting on. Will Tank Davis ever go to from 135 to 168? And he ain't even got to fight a Canelo. He can fight a journeyman. He can fight the guy that Steven Nelson fought this weekend that people don't know. That Truck Simpson fought. What about him? Is he on that level? Because if people gonna say that, oh, he'll knock out Terence Crawford, that conversation still going? Okay, let him do it then. That's the biggest bag he can get right now. If people want to make that a conversation, let's make it a conversation. So Tank Davis all of a sudden is better than Canelo. Okay, yeah. Yeah, all right. So make the fight. That'll be the biggest payday he can get. He fighting Jake Paul for a payday. It would be more respectable for him to fight a guy who was at 135, who's a real professional fighter, who's been a champion, who's around your size, who's been your size before, who's fought a common opponent. That would only make sense. Canelo just got the most money he ever got with the guy in one fight. So And everybody loves to do what Canelo's doing, so why not go do what he just did? I mean, Canelo was gonna fight Jake Paul, and then Tank did. So if Canelo fights Terence Crawford, why don't you go fight Terence Crawford? You you just fought Jake Paul after Canelo was gonna fight Jake Paul. You're gonna fight Jake Paul. So fight Terence Crawford after Canelo fights him. You're doing the same thing he's doing. Oh no, I don't want to fight Terence Crawford. Oh, okay. Well, I see what time it is then. From now on, I'll just ignore everything that's going on. Okay. Deuce is just talking. That's all I'm hearing. Shout out to Joseph Bailey out there, man. But Deuce is just talking. He said Tank versus Bud would definitely be bigger than a Roach rematch or a match with Shakur. Yeah, it definitely would. Everybody keeps tiptoeing around it like, well, Tank would do this and well, do it. He can do it. He can fight Terence Crawford. He can. If Boots can fight Norman and Haney in the same weight class, or Haney before he even got to the weight class, and he was an option, I mean, what are we talking about? Terence Crawford was just at 147. He was just at 140. We got guys that was at 140 with Terence Crawford that was there that's still there. Terence Crawford been jumping weight classes so easily that everybody just think everybody's doing it. They just think everybody's doing it. It's like, nah, they're not just, everybody's not doing it. And they're not fighting champions when they get to these weight classes. Legit champions. The best. They're not doing it. That's why in a minute Tank gonna be the only one. What's up, Jay Smith? That's why in a minute Tank gonna be the only guy that's out here calling out guys like Crawford. And it's gonna look crazy. It looks crazy now. And the fans is co-signing it. I ain't calling nobody old, but I don't want y'all out here showing your age. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a new day. Like the young guys now, they're not moving like that. You don't hear no young guys online right now going back and forth with anybody. Is that facts or not? What young fighters you hear right now are going back and forth with anybody? They don't have the luxury to sit back and go back and forth and call out guys all day they'll never fight. They don't have the luxury to do that. Every boxer can't sit back and do that. They actually have to go out here and fight. They don't have Mayweather cosigns. Even that sometimes is not enough. Yeah, so everybody can't do what Tank doing. They can't sit back and call out Terence Crawford and say what they'll do to him and never do anything, was in the same weight class as him, fought common opponents, get a pass for it. You know. Ain't no way he finna do all this after this man just beat Canelo and I'm gonna sit back and be like, yeah, you know, Tank. It is what. Stop it. He said Bud versus Logan Paul would break records. Tank Davis versus Terence Crawford is a bigger fight. Tank Davis versus Terence Crawford would be the biggest fight in boxing right now. But Tank don't want to do it. He'll rather go over here with Jake Paul and break bread with him, get some money with him. He don't want to cut the check with a Terence Crawford or nobody. And that's his MO. He didn't even want to run it back with Roach. Everybody said Tank want to get Roach paid. Then he bragged about not wanting to pay him a second time around in a rematch. But I think Tank versus Bud would be the biggest fight. Logan Paul, he's not really boxing like that, but he is a big name. But I think the guy Taporia for UFC would be bigger. He has a big name in UFC right now. But Conor McGregor was a fight that Terence Crawford was offered multiple times. He turned it down. Terence Crawford don't usually chase fights like that because, like I said, he could have fought Conor McGregor before he fought Earl Spence. Yeah, Dana White was trying to make that fight like 5 or 6 years ago. Conor McGregor versus Terence Crawford. Yeah, for some reason he doesn't want to take those kind of fights. I thought he would, because it would make his name a lot bigger. But he's never thought about those fights. He never said he wouldn't take them all the way. But what's going on, AR? I'm doing good, man. How about you? How was your weekend, your week, man? He said, I just saw Boo Boo Andre calling out Bud for a title shot. What's your thoughts on this? I actually thought about that last night. And I think Andre and you know what's crazy? I think Andre and Canelo will be an excellent fight, but I don't think it'll actually happen. But I seen that last night. He was saying if Crawford was still at 168, he'll fight him. He's not particularly calling him out like trying to steal the shine or anything. He was just saying that he wants to be a champion again. And if he has the belts, he would definitely like to make a fight with him. Yeah, he's not hunting him down, but he just wants a belt, one of the belts he got. So that's all it was. He said he would like to fight Canelo, though. I think that would be an interesting fight, to be honest with you. Canelo don't have a lot of options, but that would actually be a good fight. A lot of fans would actually tune in, too. That would be a good rivalry fight on Canelo's resume. I think he should make a fight like that happen. I didn't really think about it till he brought it up. I was like, Canelo don't have that many options. Yeah, that's good. You said who will win, Prime Mayweather versus Crawford? I don't know. Prime Mayweather, it'll be difficult. I would say this. At 135, I don't know. At 135, I would probably lean more towards Floyd. But anything higher than that, I would probably say Crawford. But at 135, I think Floyd probably beat the brakes off of Terence Crawford. But that's for other reasons though. Like Floyd was it's for different reasons. Like early on, I think Terence Crawford has gotten better fighting the guys he's been fighting, but at 35, I think Floyd was better. But 40, 47, I would probably lean towards Crawford though. I don't know why. That's just the way I see it. Maybe, that's an opinion thing. So he said Canelo ducked Andre already, but I wouldn't mind seeing Bud versus Andre. Yeah, Bud versus Andre would be a good. I don't know if a lot of fans would want to see that. Uh, real boxing fans would definitely watch it, but I don't know if a lot of people want to see that because Andre would be a guy he don't fight like Boots, but he's similar to Boots. So I don't know if people would want to see a guy who fights similar to Boots or same kind of slick style, and it's not Boots. I think that's a bad option, in my opinion, because more people want to see him fight Boots anyways. It makes sense because he's at 68 and he's not a natural 68 either. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I would watch it. I think that fight 2 years ago would have been good, probably even 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that would have been a good fight. But yeah, Andre still has options, man. What's up, J Man? What's going on to J Man? Shout out to J Man. Yeah, but Andre has options. He can fight a few guys. He can fight a few people. If PBC get him involved with something, they can have him in a few fights. Like I said, he can fight a Canelo. He can fight a Charlo to see which guy fights Canelo. Yeah, because let's just say if Charlo loses or something, he can go fight Plant. Like, it's a lot of options they still got. But they got to start moving, though. Everybody not getting younger. But him fighting Bud, it's just too close of a style with Boots. Ain't nobody going to be checking for that. They'll watch it, but you know what I mean. You said who I want Moses to fight next? I thought Moses should have fought Wardley and then Parker. You see Parker fighting Wardley now. Wardley was actually supposed to be a fight that Moses had, but I think the UK didn't want to have too many domestic fights going on. As you can see, Wardley hasn't fought another domestic fight since Frazier Clark. They had Vic Baby, and then they had Justice Huni, and now you have Joseph Parker. None of those guys are from the UK, so I don't think they wanted to have another domestic fight with Wardley. So they went with Dillian White, who's a better option, has more experience, bigger name. But I thought that Wardley and then Parker would have been a good option for Atama, but they went another direction, so it's not gonna happen. He said Tank wouldn't even fight Brian Norman. That's what I'm kind of waiting on. I'm glad PD brought that up. That's what I'm kind of waiting on. Oh yeah, that Benavidez Yard undercard looks good. This undercard for Thurman versus Fedora is gonna be amazing. They got Frank Martin just got added to the undercard. Oh yeah, they got some names on that one. That's the one I'm checking for right now. That's the biggest card coming up. They got Frank Martin. I don't know who he's gonna fight, but he said he got added to the October 25th card. But yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. But yeah, with Tank Davis, I was explaining to everybody earlier. Before everybody came in, I was saying that with Tank Davis, and this is not a clout chase, and this is real, this is all facts. He used to be at 135, and Terence Crawford used to be at 135. Tank Davis fought Gamboa. Terence Crawford fought Gamboa. Tank Davis has continued to fight guys around 140, or guys who's moved up to 140 or even 147. Like a Rolly Romero who just fought at 147. Ryan Garcia's at 147. If he wants to make any of those rematches, you got to fight at 147. So that shows right there that Terence Crawford, if he wouldn't have moved up to 54 or even 68, he still could have been an option. He even said, I would stay at 47 just to fight Tank Davis. Nobody else, not even Boots. I'll wait on Tank Davis, though. And Canelo just went and made $150 million with this guy. If Tank Davis is fighting Jake Paul for a payday, Canelo has not gotten any payday bigger than he had with Terence Crawford. No matter what anybody says. People will say, oh, you're over-exaggerating. Terence Crawford ain't do nothing for Canelo. He already a big name. Okay, why did Boots sparring Canelo have anything to do with Canelo? Or did it have more to do with Terence Crawford? When everybody talked about Boots sparring Canelo, was the conversation about Canelo or was it about Terence Crawford that went viral before the fight? Since Terence Crawford's not a big name. Matter of fact, I'll go a step further. Can you name one fighter in boxing right now that anybody is comparing to Canelo? Not one. So let's be real. This is a real conversation. So Tank Davis finna fight a guy who's almost 100 pounds more than what he was when he just fought Roach, which is insane. So you're gonna take a chance like that, but you wouldn't fight a guy who was in the same weight class as you? We ain't talking about a guy who ain't never been at 135. Tank is fighting guys who ain't never been 135. Jake Paul ain't been 135 since elementary school, and this man is about to fight him. So the weight is off the table. This is a real conversation. Why is he calling Terence Crawford out and trolling him? No other fighter in boxing right now is doing that. These young guys are not doing that. These young guys know what time it is. They know Turkey Al-Sheikh ain't playing. These young guys don't have the kind of backing and support like a Tank Davis to where they can sit up here and troll Terence Crawford and make sure they can get a payday without fighting a guy like Haney or Shakur or Terence Crawford. It ain't too many fighters in boxing that can go get paydays without fighting any big names in their weight class. Can't. Then this guy skipping ahead and fighting Jake Paul. And then if I say, hey, this guy should fight Terence Crawford, oh, man, you tripping. Look at the weight. He finna fight Jake Paul, man. What are you talking about, bro? It's 2025. This ain't back in the day. He finna fight Jake Paul, homie. So you giving him a pass? So you more mad at me talking about Tank Davis versus Terence Crawford, a guy who used to be at 135. But you're okay with Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Oh, okay. So you part of the problem. So you think Tank Floyd. So I can't compare Terence Crawford to Floyd, but y'all gonna act like Tank Davis Floyd, though. I can't even compare Terence Crawford to Floyd, but y'all gonna act like Tank Davis is Floyd. While everybody out here, oh yeah, Terence Crawford, yeah, all right, sound good. We'll see. We gonna see if you're gonna walk the walk. I can't talk about Terence Crawford versus Tank Davis. Terence Crawford, who used to be at 135. Even Marquez said, I wouldn't fight Canelo because he ain't on 135. Floyd used to be a lightweight. And I'm going to put out that video later on. And I wasn't even going to bring that up, but that fixed my conversation right now. Juan Manuel Marquez said that Canelo was never going to get a fight with me because he was not a natural 135. He was like a welterweight or something. Floyd was a lightweight that went up. So I'm saying the same thing that Marquez said. That makes total sense. All Marquez did was go up and fight a guy who used to be at 135. What's the problem? Ain't Tank Davis better than Marquez? People say if they say he on Floyd level, if he on Floyd level, he ain't better than Marquez. That's why Marquez is one of the best. And he did that after fighting Pacquiao a whole bunch of times. So what are we talking about? Yeah, guys ain't trying to move up and wait for real, man. They playing. If you need to get Jake Paul for a payday, you ain't no face of boxing, bro. We taking that back. Renege. We taking that back. You can't be the face of boxing. And getting left behind, Jay, man. Facts. Shout out to PD. What's going on, PD? They scared to talk about this conversation. They gonna let this man troll Terence Crawford, get likes off of and be like, that's funny. Nah, this ain't funny, homie. What he gonna do? He gonna put Jake Paul on? Tank Davis got the plug and everything. He got the whole boxing world behind him. Dudes be scared to say anything about him. But they'll say something about Terence Crawford. That's already a problem right there. That's already the problem. You can't be reporting boxing and you scared to say something about Tank, but you'll drag Terence Crawford. Oh, no, sir. Get these guys out of boxing. ASAP. Immediately. These guys expired. Get these guys out of boxing. They are scared to say something about Tank, but they'll say something about Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford fought Madrimov, and people talking about, oh, this dude trash. Dude got a whole belt, a real boxer. Jake Paul out here going the distance with Mike Tyson. Then he getting the pass, and then Tank Davis pulling up and he getting the pass. Oh, it's just a whole bunch of nut hugging going on. That's all I see right now. Ain't nobody talking about no boxing. It's nut hugging. This is nut hugger stuff. Floyd is almost 50 years old, and people talking about he's still doing exhibitions. Tank doing the exhibition now. So y'all treating Tank better than Floyd and Mike Tyson? This is getting out of hand, bro. This is getting out of hand. Tank Davis he's getting more passes than Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. Now he gets to speak on Terence Crawford. Okay. No other boxer can do this, but people will be like, oh, look at Haney. He always reacting. He always saying something. Tank Davis just said something about Terence Crawford. He said something about Floyd. I mean, what are we talking about? Every young boxer he threw a shot at. Crawford saying one thing to Tank, then everybody, well, Crawford said something to Tank. Man, get out of here. Tank got a mama already. He don't need two mamas. Tank already got a mama. He don't need another mama. His mama good. Trust me, if he need his mama to speak up for him, she gonna pull up. We don't need to Tank. Everybody, well, Crawford said something to him first. His mama got that. Trust me. If he need his mama to handle that, his mama will call Crawford mama or something. We don't need grown men out here trying to be somebody's mama. Come on, relax. Well, Crawford said something to him first. Man, get out of here. Grown men, hair on your legs and everything, yelling this. Another man with hair on his legs, you don't even know. Well, he said something. Please. What is this? Dude's Medea'd out right now. Talking about Tyler Perry, these dudes acting like Medea. It's more Medea's online than it is on TV. Man, I wish I would. I ain't never heard no Floyd Mayweather fan talking about some, well, Pacquiao said something about him first. I don't know what these dudes on. That ain't no boxing. I'm stepping away from that. Nah, I'll show up when the fight happens. Everything until that point, I'm good. I'm good on that. This conversation getting out of hand. And the dude ain't gonna be able to live up to his expectations. The fact that nobody want to talk about that Roach fight or the rematch lets me know everything I need to know. These people don't watch boxing like that. And when Tank ain't got nothing going on, they ain't really got nothing to talk about. It is what it is. And then nobody cares about the Jake Paul fight like that, to be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Nobody cares about the Jake Paul fight. Every time they bring up this fight, it's about what Jake Paul gonna do. Tank just old girl on Dirty Dancing in the corner. They talking about Jake Paul the whole time. Is Jake Paul gonna do this? Is Jake Paul gonna do that? They don't care about what Tank gonna do. A casual or a diehard fan, they don't care. You ain't the star. You there for Jake Paul. Don't get it twisted. You supposed to do the same thing Mike did. And the way you fought Roach, it's a good chance. If you ain't run up on Roach, you ain't finna run up on no 225 guy. And you iffy about Terence Crawford. And y'all was at the same weight class. Nah, you ain't finna get no knockout. Nah, it's going the distance. I'll let y'all know that right now. It's going the distance. He already showing respect. He worried about Terence Crawford. It's going the distance. Put the house on it. Put the house on it. This dude, 225, just fought Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. is a guy who's on Canelo's resume. So Tank finna fight Jake Paul after Chavez Jr. did? That's the guy I'm talking about. Man, this makes sense. Look at that. Jake Paul fighting guys on Canelo's resume. Now Jake Paul finna get Tank before these other guys can get Tank on the resume. Now if Shakur fight Tank, he gotta be like, oh man, Jake Paul got him first. You know, I got to him, but you know, Jake Paul had already beat him up a little bit. That's sad. If I gotta say that, that's gonna be. I ain't even gonna bring him up, to be honest with you. I tried to get to him, but Jake Paul had already beat him up. I wish somebody would say he wasn't the same because of that Jake Paul fight. Bro, I wish a fan would get online and say after this man fight Jake Paul, oh, he lost to so-and-so because he ain't the same because of that Jake Paul fight. He just fought a heavyweight. What y'all think? It ain't gonna never end, I'm telling y'all. It'll never end. Never end. That's supposed to be the position Terence Crawford in. Terence Crawford's supposed to be calling the shots right now. They asked Terence Crawford to fight everybody in the world. And Tank Davis is not getting not one request to fight anybody. DJ ain't asked for no requests. No request for the DJ. That's crazy. Ain't nobody seeing this. Dudes is faking it till they make it. Told you, they Manu Ginobili. They coming off the bench, Euro stepping, laying it up. And guys is like, oh, he's starting. Nah, he coming off the bench. He an all-star, though. He coming off the bench, though. He ain't no starter. Dude, Ginobili coming off the bench. But ain't getting no fights. I need Jake Paul to get a payday. Nah, man. Nah, these ain't the faces of boxing. Floyd was doing this when he was almost 40. These guys are doing this in their prime. And then when you look back, what's going to be sad is when you look back, you're going to see Terence Crawford was fighting real fighters. And everybody else like, well, I'm trying to get a payday back then. Bro, you messing your resume all the way up. You letting these folks mess your resume all the way up. You talking about trying to get paid, you can get a bigger bag fighting Terence Crawford. I don't understand. Nobody can explain why Canelo got the biggest bag he ever got with Terence Crawford. They gonna act like the value ain't there. Like, well, Crawford, ain't nobody checking for Crawford. It's a lot of people checking for Crawford. If they're not asking for Tank or Canelo to fight anybody, but they're asking for Crawford, it's a lot of people checking. I don't need no followers or no views to pull that out. Most of the guys that get talked about the most online don't even got the most followers. So let's be real. That's another conversation. But another conversation. Especially when it comes to boxers. Shout out to Dark Kent. PD said should have been Darren Till versus Paul. And my thing with Jake Paul is, I can see why people say he brings a lot of eyes to boxing and everything, but dudes got to understand though, when you the only fight on, that's gonna happen. Like, you the only fight on. I think the night he fought, I think it was either Nate Robinson or somebody. I think Jake Paul was the only fight that was on. So people like, man, let me watch this. We stuck in the house. That's how that kind of got started. But most of the time when he fighting, he the only fight on. Shoot, even this weekend with Crawford fight, they had fights the day before, fights the same day. I'm like, UFC was on. I'm like, man, they got fights on the same day. It's a big fight. I don't remember any fights being on that day that Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson. I don't think so. There wasn't no fight on that day. And I think that fight was on a Friday. And people say, man, people don't watch fights on Friday. That fight broke records. Fights definitely on Friday work. That's why Turkey was like, let's do a fight on Friday. And Canelo didn't understand why. He just didn't understand. He's like, what? Why would we do a fight on Friday? Turkey was like, all right. The numbers say that, but he said J-Man said report came out a couple of hours ago. This fight ain't happening. The weight difference is too much. Oh, okay. Bet. I didn't really think this was gonna happen anyways, but the fact that it got this far, and my thing is the reaction from the public, man, this fight wasn't criticized at all. This fight wasn't criticized at all. Especially from the boxers. I ain't hear too many boxers. I heard boxers saying, yeah, he getting paid though. I mean, yeah, everybody's getting paid when they fight Jake Paul. I don't understand that because when Jake Paul first came in the game, it was a lot of boxers saying, man, I don't like these exhibitions. Well, Virgil Ortiz said it recently. He got some backlash. I don't know why, because that's just his opinion. And he's in the boxing game, so he can say whatever he wants. But a lot of boxers were saying, oh, man, I don't like this boxing and everything else. But I guess when Jake Paul started fighting real boxers, that's when everybody was saying, I can get a chance, so let me try to just fall back and see if I can get a fight. It has worked. Jake Paul tried to fight Amir Khan. I heard Amir Khan asked for too much money, so they went ahead and fought Chavez. Yeah, he was gonna fight Amir Khan. I'm gonna tell you how dirty Jake Paul is. Let me tell you. This is allegedly too. So Jake Paul was trying to fight Canelo. You know, they did the contract, it fell through. He ended up signing the fight, Skull and Terence Crawford. So Jake Paul immediately gets on the phone and calls. Well, they get in contact with Amir Khan. Amir Khan asked for too much money. They get Chavez Jr. on the phone. And Jake Paul was like, oh, Chavez Jr. accepted the deal. So he went ahead with Chavez. You know, Chavez got a legendary father, everything else. So Mexican fans, it was a bigger fight anyways. A lot of people came out. But yeah, he was trying to fight a Canelo opponent. So everybody don't think that this is just, oh, well, you know, Jake Paul just having fun. Oh, he trolling Mexican fans too. That's what Mexican fans don't understand. Jake Paul is currently trolling y'all. He's putting himself on Canelo level. By the time he hang it up, they're gonna be like, Jake Paul, who would have won between Jake Paul and Canelo if he don't fight him? He said, J-Man said Georgia State Commission wants nothing to do with this fight. Facts. We was talking about that a couple of days ago. It's not a lot of fights that Georgia State Commission has as far as boxing. They've been doing the OTX thing with the zone, but they don't have too many fights. Tank Davis went down there during the pandemic because everywhere else was closed. Atlanta was open. There was a lot of money flowing around. Shakur went down there, fought Jamel Herring. So besides those type of fights around that time, it's not a lot of fights that happen in Atlanta, especially downtown like that. It just doesn't happen. So for him to say, "Oh, we showing up and we gonna have the Jake Paul and Tank fight," they like, nah. We don't even have a lot of fights down here. So if you think we're gonna have a guy fighting 100 pounds more than another guy, we don't know how much Tank gonna weigh. And it's not like Tank gonna tell them, oh, I'm gonna be 175 or so he's not finna tell them how much he gonna weigh anyways going into it. So they're not finna be like, you know how those people gonna be. They're gonna be like, well, you just gonna have to find out when we weigh in. They're like, nah, we ain't gonna find out nothing. We definitely not finna find out anything. And I'm glad they got canceled. Tank Davis need to make this video makes more sense now. Tank Davis need to go ahead and pick up that phone and call old boy he was trolling after he won 3-time undisputed this weekend. Need to go ahead and pick up the phone. Terence Crawford just fought on Netflix. So, everybody that's involved. You got Dana White. I'm pretty sure he'll make the fight. Go ahead and make the fight. Netflix will definitely and he'll still get the same amount of money. I bet Tank could get more money fighting Terence Crawford than he would Jake Paul. Jake Paul ain't getting everybody paid now. He ain't getting everybody paid like that. Trust me. Mike Tyson just got what, 20 million? And Canelo got 150. It's a big difference. He needs to pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to fight him. If you can fight a guy who's 220, 200 pounds, you can fight a guy who went from 154, 135, 47, or 40, 47, 54, then 68. You can fight that guy. Absolutely. He could definitely fight up Terence Crawford. Put that pressure on these guys, man. Y'all, when you ain't got to troll nobody, you ain't got to go back and forth with a fan of Tank or nothing. Yeah, most of these people are fans of Tank, but some reason, if you criticize me, you're not a fan of them. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I watch the Chicago Bulls just like everybody else. But as soon as Jordan or somebody mess up, people like, well, Scotty ain't doing nothing either. Well, all right then. You a Chicago Bulls fan, right? Dudes with Chicago Bulls fans out here checking Scottie Pippen every 5 minutes. So if y'all can do that, you can say something about this. It's not that hard. You watch football, every Sunday, dudes was talking about how their quarterback ain't doing nothing. Now they get to this situation, they want to be like, well, he looked like a baby, so we'll treat him like a baby. All right, PD. Yeah, man, this is the perfect time. Appreciate that, J-Man. Shout out to J-Man. This is the perfect time. People don't want to talk about this. I'm telling y'all. They're going to look back 10 years from now and be like, hey, Terence Crawford was a 135, and Tank was a 135. Then he fought Gamboa. Yeah, I'm going to bring it up. Trust me. Because he already inducted Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford went on all these same interviews that Tank Davis was responding to. And he was saying, oh, I'll fight him at 47. He said, I'm trying to go up to another weight class, fight Canelo, but I'll stay and fight Tank Davis. Ain't nobody hear that. That man was putting everything on pause. He like, oh, I'll fight Tank. And that'll be the biggest fight in boxing, hands down. It's not a fight that's being talked about, but every time Tank says something about Crawford, it seems like people are like, oh, well, I understand what Tank's saying. Okay, understand if he get in the ring with him then. If you think he can slap Terence Crawford in the street and he'll do nothing, let him go in the ring and make the most money he'll ever make. If Jake Paul ain't going to give him a big payday, I bet Terence Crawford can get Tank a bigger payday than Jake Paul will. Guaranteed. Call up Netflix, Al Heyman, whatever you got to do, whatever the situation was before with Jake Paul, and fight a guy who's closer to your weight. They'll sanction that fight with Terence Crawford and Tank Davis. I guarantee. They will sanction that fight. They will guarantee let that fight happen. There's nobody out here that'll say they can't sanction that fight. That fight will guaranteed be sanctioned. Guaranteed. They will let it happen. Now, if he can't do that, then guess what? We'll just be watching Lamont Roach make all the big moves. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Lamont Roach has temporarily replaced Tank Davis right now. This man going on to fight Pitbull. He talking about fighting Shakur. I feel like I'm watching Spider-Man right now and Lamont Roach to turn into Venom or something. Because he out here doing what Spider-Man used to do. So what's going on with that? He didn't let Lamont Roach run off with the sauce. I seen a tweet going around where people was like, Terence Crawford was at the Las Vegas Raiders game. People was like, yeah, that's what Roach was doing. I'm like, bro, these dudes got PTSD from Lamont Roach. Terence Crawford just fought Canelo. The first thing they saying is, yeah, but Roach, he was doing the same thing. People in the comments like, who is Roach? What are y'all talking about? You talking about the guy who fought Tank? What does that have to do with this? I'm just saying, man, he's doing too much. Bruh, it's Monday. Lamont Roach got these dudes shook. So right now, according to Tank fans, whoever Lamont Roach fight, if he loses to anybody in the future, that's gonna be a win for Tank. So that's how sad they are right now. But yeah, just thinking that you're gonna be out here saying something about Terence Crawford, nah. You see everybody else let that slide. They like, okay, I'm cool with that. Guys can say what they want about, oh yeah, Terence Crawford was impressive. They gonna let that slide because they agree with Tank. That's why. If it was anybody, other boxer, dudes would be out here like, oh, I can't believe these guys think they're okay with this because still got a lot of Terence Crawford haters out here. The fact that they want to compare Tank to Floyd, but when it comes to Terence Crawford, oh, nah, don't do that. Not Terence Crawford, nah, don't do that to Floyd. Don't do that to Floyd. What you mean? You ain't on some white boxer to get compared to Floyd Mayweather? They was just doing it with Canelo. Man, y'all don't get out my face with that. Y'all was just doing that with Canelo. Well, what if Floyd was still boxing and he was in his prime now? And then if Canelo was boxing now in his prime, how would Floyd look against this Canelo? Because I think Canelo better than Floyd was at this time because Canelo was 23. So if he would have fought Floyd at this time, he would have destroyed Floyd. He just knocked out Kovalev. Man, please. But when it comes to Terence Crawford, oh, let's just go ahead and say, oh, if it ain't no Mexican guy or somebody like that, I don't want to get out of my boundaries and compare Terence Crawford to all the greats. I gotta leave that to guys like Canelo and Boots and all that. I can compare Boots to Terence Crawford right now. I know Boots done fought Mean Machine, he done fought Avanesian, and the other guy, Stanionis, but I can compare him to Terence Crawford right now. But Terence Crawford to Mayweather, nah, man, y'all going too far. That's all I see it. I don't see it as a negative. I see it as, oh, we saving that spot for somebody else. When another Canelo show up and a Terence Crawford is not around, then we'll start comparing people to him. When he ain't around, when he ain't on top no more, then we'll start comparing guys to him. While he around, I mean, he the best, but I don't want to talk about it like that. I don't want to compare him to nobody. You know, he's just the best. It is what it is. Last week I was talking about Inouye being over him, but I don't want to talk about that. Don't let these people try to push that narratives on the public because they have no problem comparing these other young fighters and everybody else to Terence Crawford. No problem. People that can get in the ring with this guy. They have no problem with that. Guys is talking about you got boxers right now walking around talking about Ali ain't top 5. Ali is not top 5. Which is insane. Canelo top 5, but Ali ain't top 5. Tyson Fury top 5, but Ali ain't top 5. Man, these dudes out of their mind. They try to limit Terence Crawford in any direction they can for being considered a great because he ain't been in that conversation at all. He fights a Canelo and now it ain't supposed to happen. Nah, man, please. Man, people better get out their feelings. The conversation gonna happen. I ain't had no conversation about how this guy's the best of this and that every day. The conversation is gonna happen. If guys is gonna call him out and they in the same weight class as him, make the fight happen. Oh, it's mandatory that Tank got to get in the ring with Terence Crawford now. Oh yeah, that's mandatory. That's real talk. I'm being real. If Manny Pacquiao could do it all over again, and if he was at the same kind of weight as Tank, because Tank is a heavier guy than Manny is. Manny was a smaller man. And look where Manny was at. And look where he at right now. At the age he's at. And he getting tested. I ain't hear nobody saying Manny was Superman up the last fight. He looked regular, right? Yeah, but he's still out there though. It's a difference. He's still out there. Looking trash sometimes. Still out there. His head ain't getting bounced around like Tanks was against Roach. I'll say that. As an old man. So yeah, guys know what time it is. Ain't nobody trying to jump in the ring with Terence Crawford. Even Pacquiao got his limitations. He'll say whatever he want about Floyd and this and that. Pacquiao had a chance to get go in the ring with Terence Crawford. You ain't never heard about nobody turning down no Pacquiao fight. He had an opportunity to fight Pacquiao, and Pacquiao didn't want to make it happen. Didn't want to make it happen. He forced him to make that Floyd fight. Pacquiao waited all them years on the Floyd fight. The good thing about Terence Crawford being an older fighter is that he's been in different eras and generations, and guys ain't want to look that direction. They ain't want to pay him no attention. People try to diminish his popularity. Oh, don't nobody know him? How don't nobody know him? And this is 2016. The boxing world will tell you, man, nobody know Terence Crawford. This was 2016, and he was in Mexico. How don't nobody know Terence Crawford? 2016, and he right there with Amanda Serrano and Canelo. Canelo got a broke arm. So what do you think Terence Crawford talking to Canelo about? Like, man, how you break that arm? Canelo like, who are you? So ever since then, Canelo was watching him like, whoa, this dude fight like Floyd. I bet he wouldn't have told Terence Crawford that day, hey, you don't fight nobody. Hey, let's go outside. I'll fight somebody right now. Nobody called Bud out. 35, 40. The man had to move up to find the smoke. Bob Arum couldn't even find him the right fights. He found the best fights he could, but he couldn't do it. Even Terence Crawford going to PBC, it was gonna be bad. He would have beat everybody. And they already had Spence over there as, I wouldn't say the golden child or nothing, but he was on fire at that time. They had it kind of evened out. They had Thurman and Garcia and just didn't fit the plans. He would have beat everybody over there. And that would have been sooner. I think that would have been better for a guy like Spence to get that experience early, but, it is what it is. That's how boxing happens. But nobody was calling this guy out. They ain't calling him Terence Crawford out now. People will say, oh, man, he need to fight Boots. He needs to fight Boots. Do we know how many opponents that Canelo had went past in his career? Terence Crawford has literally fought everybody to the point where he has to go back 10 years and fight a guy that's 2 or 3 generations before him to handle business so people can be like, yeah, all right. If you don't get respect beating Canelo, you ain't going to get respect from nobody. It is what it is. And it also shows that everybody was hyping up Canelo. If you don't give him respect for beating Canelo, if he still need to fight somebody else in your mind, Canelo was never that good then. He was never that good. That's all that shows. And that hurts the sport of boxing because people say how the Mexican style and they have the tough boxers. If Canelo was one of the weakest boxers in a lot of people's eyes, then that hurts the sport of boxing then. So don't go in that direction. People don't know. That's why they're trying to walk a thin line right now, because diminishing Canelo is breaking down your whole country. They don't look at it that way when they're talking about our fighters, but they walking a thin line right now, so they don't want to throw him under the bus too bad. They're just saying, oh, yeah, he's done and everything else. Oh, he done now, huh? You seen the fight get beat out of him, now he done. They seen that man, the fight get beat out of him. That's what they seen. They seen him get beat to a point where it was like, oh, he not even gonna be the same when he get in the ring. Ain't nobody saying that about none of these other guys. None of them. Canelo, Tank, they ain't talking about that about nobody fighting like that. No fighters they talking about like that. When you get in the ring with him, it's over with. It's over. That's why I love the fact that Canelo gave him this fight. I gotta be real. I know a lot of people gonna be like, gave him the fight, bro. That's why I'm glad that Canelo stepped in the ring. That's why I'm glad, because I done seen Mexican fighters that still ain't fought Benavidez yet. So it ain't no guarantees you finna get a fight. Him fighting Terence Crawford changes everything. It's like Canelo said, oh, all this pressure y'all been putting on me, oh, get off of me. Now it's on y'all. Now you fight somebody. All this, you ain't fought nobody, and you need to fight a black fighter, and now you fight somebody. Because I said recently, Tank and Canelo kind of do the same thing, but Canelo has a better resume. All he needs is like 1 or 2 more fights. Benavidez and Crawford. I mean, the attention will be off of him as far as the bad attention, the negativity, and the pushback. But with Tank, I don't know. It's like people are siding with him for some reason. I don't understand. If I was Mike Tyson, I'd be like, bro, y'all had me fighting Holyfield and all these guys back in the day. And y'all letting this dude fight Jake Paul while I had to get out of jail and fight Evander Holyfield. I got out of jail and had to fight real fights with Hall of Famers. Y'all got this dude fight. Man, don't compare this dude to me. I just fought Jake Paul at 100 years old and y'all complain. But y'all gonna get this dude a pass. And that's what I be saying. The passes people be giving sometimes, that's why they don't like me, because I call it out down the middle all the way. The passes y'all giving Tank Davis right now, but y'all won't give Mike Tyson, disgusting. That's why I didn't criticize Mike Tyson at all. They don't want Mike Tyson to get a payday, but they want Tank Davis to get a payday. But then they'll say, "Oh, Mike a legend, man. He was in Hangover. He was funny in Hangover." That's so. But they call themselves real boxing fans. How you a real boxing fan? But Mike Tyson can't do whatever he want. Floyd can't do whatever he want. The same Floyd you say we can't compare Crawford to. Same Floyd. But he can go do everything Tank doing. Devin Haney can't do everything Floyd did. He got to fight real fights. But Tank Davis got the privilege of fighting Jake Paul in the middle of his career. And he can fight any fighter he wants. And he's in the deepest divisions. 140 and 35 he was at. The 2 deepest divisions in boxing. The man has rivalries all over the place. He's beefing with this brother. He's beefing with brothers in different weight classes. Charlos and Russells. Man, beefing with brothers and cousins. And he gonna fight somebody else? Oh, nah. Nah, you don't leave the neighborhood to fight somebody and you've been running around setting fires the whole time. And now as soon as the weekend come and everybody out of school, now you go to your daddy's house. Nah, we ain't doing that. Nah. Now he want to be an old boy and Boys in the Hood. He want to go to his daddy's house and be like Omar Gooden. Let me out, though. This dude, Omar Gooden. Oh, let me go to my daddy's house. It's the weekend. No, I ain't gonna fight nobody. That's what Tank doing in boxing. Man, you don't hear no young guys right now clout chasing. Even Keyshawn, like, bro, them days over with, bro. The fans ain't on that no more. Nah, man, they not. Fans is not on that no more. The real fans. Twitter is not boxing. The real fan bases. Those people who was at the Netflix fight, they probably don't even be on Twitter. These dudes be on Twitter like, yeah, man, this how the fans feel. No, they don't. People who bought the fight this weekend and went to the fight, because I know it was on Netflix. The people who went to the fight, They not worried about none of these guys or what they talking about online. Different kind of crowd. You had people appreciating just regular fights of people they didn't even know. You had a lot of fans complaining about the undercard, where I said the undercard is good, man. People complained about the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia undercard, and then they had no problem with it after the fight happened. Just because a guy don't have a big name don't mean the fight ain't gonna be good. I think that's why a lot more fights need to happen, because that's a little too normal now. Oh, if I don't know the guy's name, then he trash. Nah, that's not how boxing works. They gotta get away from that. All the names and stuff. If you're a big name, make the other guy a big name. Nobody knew who Majramal was before Terence Crawford. Nobody. Now everybody say they know the guy's name and says how much trouble he gave Terence Crawford and how good he looked, and don't even realize the guy's trying to get his legs and knees back together and shoulder. This man ain't been able to use his shoulder and knee the right way since he fought that guy. Yeah, Cuba. Yeah, Cuba. I said Omar, huh? But yeah, that's what they doing, man. They letting this guy, he go around, hey, I'm gonna fight this guy. That's why I keep saying, I'm like, bro, I hope you ain't trying to move like Tank. Please, do not do it. Because you're in the thick of things right now, and everybody's looking at you. Like, he didn't know it, but everybody was looking at him with that belt, like, oh yeah, I'm finna get that belt off of him. I think by the time he saw Abdullah Mason say, I'm gonna fight you, or I'll fight you next, he's like, oh man, why is a guy, bro, he in the same weight class as you? Of course he wants to fight you. What are you talking about? You lucky ain't just one belt and no just one sanctioning body and just one belt. It's already hard enough trying to have fights with 4 belts. You would have definitely fought him yesterday if it was one belt. So yeah, fans starting to realize. Well, fans already know, but the fighters starting to realize now, guys ain't on that. You see what Haney did with Norman? These dudes chilling, laying back, getting ready for the fight, training. They actually in the fights. You can actually say, oh, I can see Norman or Haney somebody. Now, if Norman and Haney name come up for a conversation with a Crawford fight right now, and they say, oh, these guys in negotiations, people will actually think it's real because they pick real fights all the time. These other guys are not picking real fights. They're not in the conversation like that. They're just not. They're not in the conversation with these fights. Yeah, I saw Omar recently. I'm like, oh, hold on. Let me chill real quick. I said, Omar. Yeah, Cameron, they messed that up, man. I ain't never mixed that up before. One viral moment messed everything up. Yeah, but I was just on here talking about this before. I had something to mix up. But yeah, man, they don't look at things a certain way when it comes to Terence Crawford. They don't. I don't think it's something they do on purpose. It's just the media kind of paints certain things. So when you think about it, it's like, it's just passes that be given, man. I don't understand it. And it also shows that the legends in boxing don't really get praised like people think they do. And I'm being real about that. The fact that a Mike Tyson and a Floyd get criticized, but at this point, he ain't getting the same kind of criticism everybody else getting. And he's a retired boxer. He's not in the game no more. As far as I know. Doing exhibitions, but he's not in the game like that no more. So this kind of shows that when people say, oh, I'm a Floyd Mayweather fan, or I was watching Floyd, this goes back to my theory again. And I have to bring this up. This goes back to my theory I told a lot of people back then, guys was watching Mike Tyson, Roy Jones before Floyd fought. Floyd had a 10-year run. I'll just go ahead and say this: the same amount of time that a lot of people have known guys like Adrian Bronner, or even some people have known Adrian Bronner longer than they known Floyd, as far as while he was fighting. Like Floyd had a run, but a 10-year run from when he was with when he fought Oscar De La Hoya to the Pacquiao or McGregor fight, but that was just a 10-year run. They wasn't checking for him like in the 90s all the way to past 10 years like they was doing with Roy and a lot of other people. That's what people don't understand. Most of the boxing public was watching Oscar De La Hoya longer, Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones. They was watching those guys longer. They didn't watch Floyd until those guys was like mid to late 30s. So the 10-year run they seeing right now, it's more people that have watched Tank Davis longer than they've watched Floyd Mayweather. People might not understand that, but people didn't watch Floyd that much as far as boxing. By the time he was in these big pay-per-view fights and fighting guys like Guerrero and Canelo, that's when everybody was like, oh, okay. But yeah, they didn't watch him that long. So a lot of these guys now that's in boxing, they've watched these guys. And I'm not talking about, oh, just because these guys are young. I'm talking about older people that was around watching boxing before me. They wasn't checking for dudes like that. So when he has these exhibition fights and he's not fighting in one of these rivalry Mexican fights or something like that, people ain't checking for it. That's kind of what it was. It got to a point where that was a thing. So he was like, I'm gonna ride this out. But if he throws a fight right now, they complain about it. And it's an exhibition. But then when you have Tank do an exhibition, it's like, bro, y'all don't understand it, but you're giving Tank more privilege in boxing than a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, who introduced Canelo to most of the audience he has right now, he's getting more privilege in boxing, and he's still boxing. I'm like, wow, I don't understand that. But I do understand it. I do understand. When you want to go against something, you jump on anybody's side you can. Anybody's side you can. But to have an active boxer not getting the criticism, oh, this is a red flag in boxing right now. For sure, for sure. I've seen Terence Crawford get criticism for fighting champions. Stu Madrimov was a champion, dude. And he can't fight him. He's a nobody. And these same people accept the J. Paul versus Tank. They're going to have a hard time, man. They're going to have a hard time. I mean, it's too many guys. At this point right now, it's too many guys that Tank ain't fought yet. He ain't fight Tevin Farmer, who just fought Zepeda and all those guys. So 35 is basically, he going to move past that weight class. No Roach rematch. Ain't no reason to stay there. Moving up. Trying to fight a J. Paul. Ain't no reason to move back down. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's definitely crazy. He said AB was the one that set Black American boxing back, not Floyd. And of course, AB was Tank original OG, not Floyd. Yeah. Nah, Floyd ain't set boxing back. A lot of people say that, but it ain't Floyd's fault that these people was paying to see him lose. Yeah, that wasn't his fault. Floyd was just fighting at that point. When they start paying him, see him lose, he was already about 30 years old. So he like, I don't know why they doing that, but let's go. You paying to see me lose? Let's make it happen. That's why they said, "Oh, get in the ring with Canelo." He like, let's do it. That's why in history, a lot of people they say, "Oh, Canelo was 23." Back then, nobody was even bringing that up. I wasn't even no expert at boxing or checking boxing to the point where I was knowing what age Canelo was. I just knew at that point I'm watching boxing and I don't know him like that. I seen him box a couple of times. I was like, nah, this the guy who gonna beat Floyd. I said, who fell for that trick? So when Floyd said he was robbing the bank, they made him rob the bank, allegedly, legally. They like, yeah, fight Canelo. But like Terence Crawford said recently, Terence Crawford, and this is what's crazy, and I'm probably gonna have to make a video about this because this is not talked about enough. But Terence Crawford was actually supposed to fight. Hold on, let me see. He was supposed to fight Manny Pacquiao before Floyd did. That's the crazy part. Floyd was actually in line. Terence Crawford was actually in line to fight because Tim Bradley, I think that was the second time he fought Pacquiao. Around that time, they was looking at Terence Crawford versus Pacquiao. And then I think 1 or 2 fights later, Pacquiao ended up fighting Floyd. Now I'm gonna say that's a big coincidence around that time. I don't know if both sides knew that they were trying to negotiate a fight for Terence Crawford, but if Terence Crawford would have fought Manny Pacquiao before Floyd did, you might have seen something in history happen. I definitely think there was a chance of that happening. So yeah, the man has been on the radar, like J-Man said, man. Nobody called the man out that whole time, up until the situation with Boots. And people was like, yo, Boots calling him out. Yeah, he calling him out, but it's not too many other people that's been calling him out this time. I know Spence did, but outside of him, not too many people trying to get in the ring with him. We had Virgil Ortiz. Then Crawford went to the fight. The energy was different. I was like, he ain't trying to fight Crawford. Let's be real. And I definitely knew why. And we can see why now. He said he'll still take the fight or whatever. Man, come on, dog. But yeah, around that time, yeah, because Gamboa, man, bro, I'm going to do a video on this. I got to. Because Gamboa, guess who Gamboa fought in 2014? He fought Terence Crawford. And Floyd knew who Gamboa was around that time. I think Gamboa was with 50 or somebody around that time. I forgot who he was getting managed by. And I hate to bring that up. I'm just bringing it up just for to show everybody that this is a little guy. He's been around, bro. He's not a big guy. He was a smaller man. He was fighting Gamboa and everything, around 135 at that time. So he was going to move up and fight Pacquiao, who was messing with 147 fights. So it looked like Terence Crawford was prepared to jump a couple of weight classes then to fight Pacquiao. But he fought Gamboa. They seen what he did to Gamboa. And they was like, nah, we ain't trying to make that happen. No way. After what he just did to Gamboa, and Gamboa was a very good fighter, especially around that time. Terence Crawford gave him that first loss. It was over. He wasn't even the same fighter after that. Still a good fighter, but he wasn't the same fighter. Not the same one that Tank fought. But Gamboa was a very, very good fighter. Floyd them seen that happen, they was like, nah, we can't throw him in the ring with me. Because if Pacquiao would have fought Terence Crawford, what Tim Bradley said around that time? The best work I got around that time was Terence Crawford. That was the best work I got around that time was Terence Crawford. Even better than Pacquiao. And he fought the man 3 times. I think he fought him like 2 or 3 times. Can't remember. I think it was 3 times. So we talking about somebody who's been on the radar for years. This I'm trying to show people that this is who Tank is making little side comments about. Somebody who been beating his heroes the F up, to be real with you. His heroes been getting beat up by this guy, or been getting marked out, or been getting punked. Everybody had a chance to be like, man, I'm finna fight this guy. They ain't want to fight him. Telling you that right now. Terence Crawford had guys going to 130, like Loma. Loma was at 135 in the amateurs. He got them pros. He was like, my skills ain't that good. Let me go ahead and go to 130. I ain't got skills like that. Because what people don't realize is Loma at 135, he couldn't compete with Gamboa around that time. Why Loma wasn't winning at 135? He couldn't compete with Gamboa? So in my eyes, if you look back, Loma at 35 would have made sense. But you had one guy down there, Terence Crawford. It was like, we can't do that. Top Rank was moving smart. They definitely was moving smart. Top Rank ain't do the situation like they did with T.O. See, they was okay with T.O. because they know he ain't really cracking like the last couple of fights. Let's throw him in there with Loma. Because they could have did the same thing with Terence Crawford. Hey, let's have Loma move up, fight this Crawford guy we got. Now, let's keep him away from Crawford, and let's let him fight T.O. That makes more sense. Imagine if Loma would have fought Terence Crawford. If you're a boxer right now and Terence Crawford was in the same weight class as you, or used to be, or he moved out, because nobody has a problem with Floyd mentioning Floyd fighting, what's the old boy name? Golovkin. That was the last fight everybody was asking Floyd to take. Hey, fight Golovkin. And Golovkin is a taller guy. And Floyd's not that tall. So look at all the people that they wanted. Because people want to mention, Floyd, we should compare him. Look at all the people they wanted Floyd to fight. They wanted him to fight Golovkin. He already had fought Canelo. People think that Tank can beat Floyd. I mean, why when it's the other way around? It's everybody like, oh, I can't believe you. I thought Floyd was TVE. I ain't gonna lie, I thought Floyd was TVE, man. I'm starting to have doubts. I mean, I could have sworn this guy was TVE. And he's the same size as Tank Davis. I don't understand this. Tank Davis a little shorter, but shoot, Tank and Pacquiao the same size. Carmel Moten is smaller than, I think, shorter than Tank. If you look at Carmel Moten, when he's bigger now. But if you look at his height, he's like an inch shorter than Tank. And Tank is like an inch or two shorter than Floyd. Probably like 2 or 3 inches shorter than Floyd. Yeah, man, it's time to make this guy fight somebody, man. Put him in the conversation for real. Hey, I'm glad. Yeah, Winky Wright, Triple G, Thurman. Facts. My bad, I wasn't even looking down here. J-Man said, even Baccarat team wasn't ready for that fight at 54 after what he did to Tim Zoo. Everyone in Boston say Bud is that guy, his own peers. Yeah, Baccarat, he ain't trying to make that move. He already know what time it is. I think Baccarat have a problem with slick fighters too. Oh, you said, yep, 50. Gamboa was a rising star when Bud fought him. Hey, I got to do a story on that, man. I know a lot of people be like, man, why you be going back and looking at, cuz I ain't 100 years old, that's why. I was a young guy when this was going on. I was outside. We used to be outside when I was making moves. We couldn't do everything from the computer right then. You know what I'm saying? You used to have to go outside to get money, so that's why sometimes I had to go back and look at history. Especially when it comes to boxing, just little business moves, certain things like this. If this was normal, everybody would know it. This people don't want you to point stuff like this out because it kind of hurts, things that have been said already. It kind of helped what I be saying. So I ain't really tripping. As long as you keep it factual, you all good. But Gamboa was that guy around that time. And Floyd fought him. And we know that Floyd and 50 Cent had a close relationship. So when Floyd saw that, he was like, whoa, that's the guy who they talking about negotiating with Pacquiao next. Man, that dude might beat Pacquiao. So all that stuff was going on. I know they already heard about the sparring with Tim Bradley, and that news got around. I know that Bob them probably used Terence as allegedly. This is allegedly now. Probably used Terence as leverage, letting the sparring information get out. Because why would they make that fight around the same time that they're doing a negotiation with Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford? And when Terence Crawford just sparred Tim Bradley, and it's the same guy who just fought Pacquiao twice, 1 or 2 times. I don't know when the sparring was. He said they started throwing all types of names out of nowhere all of a sudden. All types of names. He said Triple G, Thurman, Winky Wright. They said Winky Wright. That's crazy. I can't believe they said Winky Wright. I think I did see that though. I can't remember. I think they did say Winky Wright because Winky Wright was one of the smaller guys that was up there at 54, and he was one of the younger guys too. Yeah, they definitely said Thurman though. They was like, why he ain't fighting Keith Thurman? That's when Thurman was on HBO. Yeah, they gotta put pressure on these guys, man. Don't let this guy Tank get a pass, bro. If he gets a pass, that's gonna tell me a lot about how people feel about Terence Crawford. Forget all that congratulations stuff. If this man is out here slandering this guy, talking about he'll do this and that, everybody Tank say he'll slap somebody. People say put him in the ring. Even Jake Paul. Now we come down to Terence Crawford. Don't nobody want to get in the ring with him? That lets you know right there, they'll think Tank get beat up on the street. What's up, PD? Oh, no, we was talking about guys that they had Floyd. They mentioned Floyd with as far as opponents back in the day. And J-Man was talking about they mentioned Triple G, Thurman, Winky Wright. And I was saying, man, if Tank is being compared to Floyd and on his level, why we can't mention him with the big guys like we was doing with Floyd? When they mentioned Floyd with Triple G, I was like, man, he need to go ahead and retire. They gonna try to get this dude hurt. So yeah, we was just kind of doubling back on that, but yeah, Triple G said he'll come back for one more fight. I knew that he was gonna do that though, especially when Turkey got involved. I don't think that was a reason, but when Turkey got involved, I seen Triple G say, what he had said? I'm not retired now, but then recently he said, oh, I want one more fight. He lucky I ain't up here talking about Terence Crawford versus Triple G right now. I should have Terence Crawford put Triple G on his resume. Everybody like Triple G, old man. They have no problem asking Floyd to fight these active fighters. Let me see. Let me go and look. Where is it at? They have no problem asking these guys. But Triple G, he should have been fought these big names. Like Bivol and Bitter Biv. He could have moved up and fought those guys too. And I'm pointing something out too. People will say, oh, well, Terence Crawford is way younger than Triple G. Triple G is 43. Terence Crawford is about to turn 38. So he's about to be 5 years younger than Triple G. He's actually 6 years younger. Dmitry Bivol is 34. And Artur Beterbiev is 40 years old. Artur Beterbiev is 40 years old. He's the same age. I think he's the same age Triple G was when he fought Canelo. 40, 41. And they want this man to fight who? So yeah, they lucky ain't up here talking about Triple G versus Terence Crawford. That's a realistic fight too while we playing. Talking about he want one more fight. Okay. Go ahead and take out I have Terence Crawford. If I was him, I'd put Triple G on my resume. Everybody talking about my resume, his resume weak. Put Triple G on the resume and then call it weak. They gonna say he was 43 years old. Okay. Artur Beterbiev was 40 years old when Bivol beat him. Is that a good win or not? That man 40 years old when he beat him. Is that a good win? That's all I'm asking. Even Jake Paul getting credit for beating a 50-something-year-old Mike Tyson. Every time they bring the fighter, oh, Mike ain't do nothing. He's an old man, he ain't supposed to do nothing. But yeah, I would have lined up Triple G. I thought about it last night. I said this man is 6 years older than Terence Crawford. How older is Dmitry Bivol compared to Beterbiev compared to Dmitry Bivol? 6 years. And everybody can't wait to see the third fight. If it is gonna be a third fight, it looks like it will be. So they can't say, oh man, well that guy's too old. Nah. And Triple G is supposed to be a guy who's known as staying in the best shape ever when it comes to his regiments and everything else. So I would definitely look at him being a person who can jump in the ring. But they're not gonna do it though. They'll have all these other guys come out of retirement and go up a whole bunch of weight classes as they're older. Yeah, that's not it right there, man. You got heavyweights that's 40 something years old. How many people will watch that? I watched I watched Terence Crawford fight Triple G. Oh, he said the press conference on? I'm about to turn it on right now. He said a surprise they didn't give Thurman to Tank. Let Tank fight him. Yeah, I think it possibly could have happened, but PBC had so many setbacks. They were trying to set up fights 2 or 3 fights ahead. Like, man, y'all, they messed up a lot of fights they could have had. Like Thurman said recently, though, he was supposed to fight Spence. That just let me know they got plans already ahead that they've been making. So kind of makes sense what's been going on, allegedly. But he said that for people to not realize what he said, though, kind of shows, man. He gonna have a big fight coming up with Fundora, but when you tell the boxing public that you had a plan to fight Spence and it didn't happen because you lost to Pacquiao and nobody cares, I don't know if that man's a big name anymore. He putting out some good info on that part, but people don't really care. And that's something important to realize. That means that they were setting up fights ahead that didn't involve Terence Crawford. He said fight the better one first and then brother there. Hey, that would be a good fight though. I would like to see I would watch Charlo versus Boo Boo, and I would see the winner fight Canelo. Canelo ain't got that many options anyways. I would watch that. I would watch Charlo or Boo Boo Andre fight Caleb Plant. I think Terence Crawford, he'll beat most of those guys right now. Andre Ward versus Triple G. That'll be a good fight. Triple G gotta get paid to do that. This would be the perfect time to do it. They both older. Hey, that might be something I have to talk about. I know people ain't gonna like that, but I'm gonna bring that up. You talking about he gonna fight one more time? Fight Andre Ward. Even Ricky Hatton, who just passed away, had a fight coming up. Even Ricky Hatton had a fight coming up, so it's not impossible. What's up, Wild Man? What's going on? Triple G and Canelo fought each other instead of going for war. Exactly. Bro, that's the weakest move ever. They want some credit for that. Man, that's the weakest move I ever seen. Fuck. I just feel bad for Andre Ward, to be honest with you. Because it's like, when you look back, it's like, man, these dudes was out here plucking away opponents. It's sad. Then they go and try to fight Dimitri Bivol and stuff after Andre Ward retires. It's just nasty. I give Canelo more credit because he moved up, but Triple G knew his limitations. I would just say he's smarter. Triple G ain't got no pride and stuff like that. He's like, I know my limitations. I go to 68 and fight Canelo, but that's about it. I'm not fighting no Andre Ward. But the worst part was when the Jordan brand went and got Triple G. I think they was trolling Andre Ward, to be honest with you. I think the Jordan brand was trolling Andre Ward. Benedict Arnold. They went ahead, Andre Ward like Lil G. Y'all talking about Lil G? Then they went and gave him a Jordan deal. I'll show you who Lil G is. You got Roy Jones, Andre Ward, then you got Triple G. Just messed the whole Jordan brand up. You're not even gonna have no boxers going to the Jordan brand now. Them Jordans look ugly now when you put them on after Triple G wore them. And I'm wondering why they ain't signed no more boxers to the Jordan brand. That's insane. You'd think they would have had somebody like Haney over there. Yeah, that's wild work. He said, RP Ricky Hatton. Yeah, man. I was watching Ricky the other day. I was like, man, he was letting his hands go against Floyd. Yeah, no matter what, Ricky wasn't the most talented guy, but he used to show up, bro, every fight. Win or lose. Yeah, he was a problem. Yeah, I was watching Ricky Hatton the other day. I ain't watched Ricky Hatton in like years, bro. That's the craziest thing. I ain't seen the Ricky Hatton versus Floyd fight since they fought. And I was watching it the other day. I'm like, man, Ricky Hatton was letting his hands go. But it's crazy. I ain't seen them fight since that fight since they had fought. Then the man passed away. Yeah, you just never know, man. Never know. That's why you always say a compliment at the end of every rant or whatever you do. You don't want to have the last thing you said about somebody be terrible. Then people be like, man, you was just saying this about the guy. Just bad luck sometimes, anyways. Still gotta tell it like it is, though. Yep, they did do it. He said Triple G manufacturers will take Canelo out of his resume. He fought yeah, nobody. Canelo saved that man. He saved him. That's why Triple G owe us an Andre Ward type of fight. He don't know it. He kind of know it. That's why I say Canelo fighting Terence Crawford, he has to get credit for this. Because at this point, Canelo, he's still introducing people to his fans. Terence Crawford, Triple G, a couple of other guys, even guys he's beef with. So he's introduced a lot of people to the fans, but Triple G took all that popularity and did nothing with it. He didn't introduce anybody. Maybe Danny Jacobs to some people who didn't know him already, but he didn't make it happen like that. He dropped the ball. Then didn't fight Andre Ward, didn't fight Kovalev, no 175. Then Canelo goes to 175, beat Kovalev, fights Bivol. That's a dude trying to be great. Might not be the best, but that's a dude trying to be great. That's when I said, oh, Canelo is doing all this other stuff. I'm going to hold him to it, but Triple G still ain't trying to do nothing, huh? And Triple G was complaining about Canelo the whole time, but still trying to get another fight. I'm like, I understand the guy cheated now. I'm not going to sit up here and cap for him. But you're trying to fight him again? Oh, okay. All right, that'll work. You going to fight him 3 times? Oh, okay. All right, man. That's what's up. If he would have fought Andre Ward around that time, he would have been a beast. Oh, shout out to you at work, man. I appreciate that night a while, man. I know you hustling right now. Yeah, they did do that though. They gave this man a Jordan brand. They haven't put no boxer up there since. What's the last boxer signed to Jordan brand? I know the last box. Oh, okay. Okay, they just Jordan Brand just signed the they just signed the amateur boxer. And I'm gonna look this up. Somebody named Javon Walton. Georgia just from Georgia. An amateur boxer from Georgia. I had to look him up. But the last professional boxer was Triple G in 2016. What's up, Toot? Toot said, this might be random, but I remember 2 months ago you said Canelo not good against black fighters. Just saying. Oh yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, a lot of people heard me say that. They cashed out on it too. Yeah, a lot of people heard me say that. What I actually said was Canelo never knocked out a. I mean, he only knocked out one black fighter. I kind of went to the extreme because people was trolling, so I had to really let them understand where I was coming from. I was just saying he doesn't do good, but then they was like, "Oh well, he's done this and that." I'm like, "Okay, bro. Name the black guys he's knocked out." You know, since everybody wanted to bring up race, I bring up race now. I wanted to see what everybody's temperature was. I'm like, "Hey, is everybody cool with this talking about race every day in boxing?" I'm like, "All right, then. What black fighters Canelo knocked out?" That's just how it really went. So I haven't got my answer yet. They thought it was gonna be Crawford. But yeah, I appreciate that too. What's going on, man? Yeah, I was actually supposed to put a video out before that before I came on here, but I was like, I'm just gonna go live. Every time I try to do a video, I don't never go live. So but yeah, he's back working with Eubanks in the rematch for Ben. C- Chris Eubanks gonna look good in this fight. I got him winning, dominating in this fight. Possible stoppage, to be real with you. Oh yeah, J Man said he getting knocked out this time. I agree. Yeah, Bomac, he has fighters in great shape when they're fighting with him. I like what Boost's dad does too. Bozy. Yeah, Bozy is a beast. When he trains other fighters, these guys come in ready to go in shape. That's why I was tripping when Boost fought Karen. I was like, bro, what is he doing? Like you can't not. If you're gonna have your dad in the corner, you definitely gotta listen to him. But yeah, Bozy knows what he's talking about. I ain't forget everybody that was saying Bozy didn't know what he was talking about. It was like, he's a trash trainer. He don't know what he's talking about. He got Boost doing everything. I'm like, nah, everybody else he trains listens. Yeah, Bomac definitely trainer of the year. I thought he was trainer of the year last year. Yeah, I thought he was last year. It might have not been last year. It might have been 2023. My bad. Whenever he fought Smith and he got that rematch, I think that was last year. When he won the rematch, it might have been 2023. I always mix that date up. But whenever he won that fight, Bomac definitely should have got trainer of the year because Eubanks was done going into that fight. He was done. But I'll give him credit though. I never seen a guy whose legs was gone in a fight, but he's still standing up with his hands up when he got hurt by Smith. I was like, yeah, bro, a dog, man. I ain't never seen nobody still be able to walk forward like that, knocked out on their feet. J Man said the Tank and Jake Paul fight is not happening because they can't find anybody to sanction it. It's just too dangerous right now. They might try to kickstart it again. They got a couple of weeks. They talking about yesterday, well, Monday, they put out some news saying the press conference was supposed to be today, and they're moving the press conference till next week, next Wednesday. They just released that 2 days ago. And they were gonna try to use the clout and the hype of Canelo and Crawford to try to promote this fight with Jake Paul and Tank. But I guess the behind the scenes things as far as the details of sanctioning the fight and the locations and everything else just not gonna work. They were gonna try to do the press conference today in New York and then tomorrow in Atlanta, but if the fight can't happen in Atlanta, it's no use of even having a press conference. That's probably the reason it got pushed back. Who knows? But I definitely thought they tried to, you know, take some steam off of that Canelo and Crawford fight. That's why I'm bringing up this topic right now. The only way to try to combat that is, hey, if you want to be involved with the conversation, be involved. Tank versus Andy Cruz, nah, he passed that. Yeah, man, he looked great against Smith in that last fight. That's the best I ever seen, Chris Eubanks. That's the best I ever seen, Chris Eubanks. I think at 160 he can make something happen against a lot of guys, but I don't know. He's like a year or two older now since that fight. I didn't like how he looked in the fight in October last year. It was all right, but and then in the current event fight, you can't really tell how good he was because he was dehydrated, so he wasn't at his best. But yeah, that's gonna be a good fight though. They got a lot of fights coming out the UK right now where dudes got to make it happen, especially that Parker and Wardley fight. Because for some reason, Parker always going to fights like this with Wardley and end up losing to guys like this. But he'll beat up a good guy, but go in the ring with a guy like this, and a power shot usually do it or something. I know it's happened against Joe Joyce and Zhang and other guys. He said he gonna fight in the waters. That's funny. But yeah, man, they gotta make some things happen though. If they're gonna have Tank Davis as a guy who's, because I feel like Shakur Stevenson, he's the focus for me right now as far as at 135. All the guys at 135 and up to 140. I think Shakur has all that attention. So him and Roach, that's possibly a big fight coming up. But Tank, the more he makes moves like this Jake Paul and even the Frank Martin fight, he's just going in another direction, man. He's not really making any moves towards what the fans want to see. And we keep having situations that happen, and it reminds you, like, man, why this fight didn't happen? Like the Haney and Tank fight. I didn't want to see the Ryan situation happen before I see Tank and Devin Haney in the ring. And then the Ryan fighting Devin Haney hurt the Tank Davis and Devin Haney fight even more. A whole bunch of sparring videos came out and back and forths, and those guys wasn't even fighting each other. And it led to nothing. Haney ended up moving up. You got Ryan with more of a better chance of getting a rematch than Haney fighting Tank right now. So it's like, man, Tank out of the picture right now. If he don't fight Crawford, he ain't really a factor in my eyes. That's how you get the fans back on your side. Terence Crawford doing too much in boxing right now. I can't see Terence Crawford fight Canelo and then be like, yeah, Tank on Crawford level. And he about to fight who? Roach and Jake Paul? Those the last two guys? Even Manny Pacquiao fighting tougher fights right now than Tank. And that's sad to say. Matter of fact, if y'all want to be real, I bet Manny Pacquiao last 4 fights is tougher than Tank's. And Manny Pacquiao, old man. We got an old man out here outdoing the so-called kids in their 30s. Pacquiao's an old man out here. His last 4 fights are tougher than Tank's. We're trying to save him out here. He got the Tom Brady of boxing out here getting clout off these 200-yard games. And dudes is getting and Tank out here getting 100 yards, 5 touchdowns. Ain't doing no work but scoring every time. Jerome Bettis. Yeah, Bowman went in that last fight. He was not in that last fight. I'm not trying to clout chase out Tank or nothing like that, or gain any following off of it. This is not what I do. But I'm just calling it out because the community of boxing is scared to call this guy out. I don't know if it's the audience they have or any kind of repercussions or people won't let you go to fights. I don't know what it is. But for me to have conversations like this and it to be abnormal is weird. Like, man, have some balls out here. That's why I don't like when people be having all them comments about Wilder and Terence Crawford. Like, nah, y'all just doing that because them dudes black. People be like, oh, y'all being racist. Oh, you just want to pull the race card, man. Okay, what about with Jake Paul? Why he ain't getting no criticism? Jake Paul, like he ain't got that many people watching this fight, bro. Ain't that many people checking for him like that. I just want everything to be fair. I'm trying to help the boxers out right now. I'm out here speaking up for the boxers, the guys who don't have big profiles, who are not gonna clout chase their way through boxing. And sometimes, even if you are talking, it ain't gonna help. And Tank don't do a lot of talking. He sent out a couple of tweets. He delete them. He'll do an interview here and there before the fight. But no, he ain't got to really do nothing like that. But you got Eddie Hearn, like, man, God need to be active on social media. And there, man, Tank ain't active on social media. This dude, what is this guy talking about? Terence Crawford and Canelo, they need to be active on social media like Jake Paul. Jake Paul needs to be on social media because he doesn't have skills. This is why promoters right now are getting left behind. They're talking like it's 2005. Why does a guy need to be promoted or promote himself when he's fighting on every platform? The platform is supposed to promote these guys. Before the internet was around, when nobody running to the internet and say, hey, who's Mike Tyson? I need to figure out who he is. If y'all can't get popular with the internet, and Mike Tyson did it without the internet, he's still more popular than you? I don't know what. I'm telling you what the secret is. Dudes ain't fighting, bro. They starting to realize it now the more I say it, but they realizing the building up fights and stuff like that is it's weak. It's over. It's over. If every week a fight is coming on, nobody's gonna take their time out to say, oh, let's just make some time to talk about Jake Paul and Tank. They're gonna talk about the fight when the fight week come up. Nobody's gonna sit around and wait on Jake Paul or anybody else to make some moves, be like, hey, we're gonna see what they do, and then Boston gonna move on. Nah. They've done that with Canelo for the last few years, but it's not happening anymore. That's why Hamzat Shiraz had to move up. He knew at a certain point, like, well, I can't try to circle back for another title fight at 160. No, it's over with. Time to move up, man. And everybody is moving up because they're fighting more now. Guys know, oh, if I gotta weigh in, if I want to be at my best and not try to drain myself and cut too much weight, I'm gonna have to move up. And that's what Canelo realized a long time ago. I can't keep trying to fight guys like Lara at 54 and I'm really walking around at 175 or something. That's why he's like, hey, why these guys are moving? If Canelo was 125 running around, he wouldn't be asking why guys is moving. But when he was heavier, he was like, oh, this is slowing me down. I can't be trying to chase these guys who are lighter than me. I can't tell the public that I'm heavier. So let me just go ahead and tell these guys, hey, they moving too much. Why are they moving? Yeah, Haney started the movement. First one. Devin Haney went to YouTube, started putting his fights on YouTube before Pro Box. He was putting his fight. I'll just go there for a minute. Devin Haney made it cool to put your fights on YouTube and sparring videos. Let's go there. So a lot of this, so Tank ain't even doing nothing. He ain't even started doing nothing yet. Everybody be like, Devin Haney be copying Tank. Tank ain't even, what? Devin Haney changed boxing already. I can make him a face of boxing right now if I want to. He started everybody putting their sparring videos and start making YouTube channels. Boxers wasn't making YouTube channels until Devin Haney did. Matter of fact, Floyd started putting more into YouTube channels after Devin Haney did, when he started seeing what Devin Haney was doing as far as his promotion. And that's facts. They wasn't putting no boxing matches online like that. So really, you could sit up here and say an American black fighter was the first one that started this whole streaming boxing thing. Is he gonna get credit? Nah. But they'll talk about how Canelo, during his era, he was the face. Okay, but what change? What effects is he making to boxing? Nothing. He ain't changed the game at all. That's the stuff I talk about. But I'm not gonna sit up here and talk for 2 hours. That should be common sense. That before Devin Haney was putting up videos online on YouTube or stuff like that, people wasn't really doing it. It was considered corny at one point. Now everybody has a YouTube channel and they're posting their clips and their fights and sparring and everything else. Think about it. Devin Haney got a whole YouTube channel, right? He don't be streaming like that. Only time he's streaming is when he's fighting. When he fighting somebody, then you can buy a stream then. But he ain't streaming or nothing like that. He had the YouTube channel the whole time. Game changer. Changed boxing. That's a boxing game changer. What has Tank done? Called out all the guys who does stuff like that. So when you see guys like Tank calling out Crawford and Devin Haney, these are guys who are changing boxing. Terence Crawford is making it normal again to jump multiple weight classes to the point where people are like, oh, I'm scared for him. They didn't do that when Canelo was jumping weight classes because he was already big. So you got two guys who's changing boxing. One guy who's making whole platforms put boxing matches on YouTube. Not everybody's doing it. You can go back and look, bro. YouTube was around 12 years before, 12 to 15 years before he was even Devin Haney was putting fights on YouTube. I'm just giving out a history lesson right now. Current black history that's going on right now that's helping the whole world. Because people say, oh, in America, y'all so lazy. Devin Haney's idea of putting fights on YouTube helped change the whole landscape of boxing. Now all boxers can flourish from that just one idea of, hey, let's do this. Floyd wasn't doing all that. It was putting sparring matches and stuff on other platforms, but they wasn't putting up fights. And Floyd was smart. He would have had the young guys back then fighting on a YouTube channel and putting their amateur fights up there. But only Devin Haney was doing it, and he was the one that said, let me do this. And Floyd them like, allegedly, like, oh, no, we're going to do this and this and this and this. But everybody's doing what Devin Haney doing now. Game changer. So guys like him and Terence Crawford have to get credit. They're not the big names, but they're making the moves, though. Even look how Terence Crawford has these fighters like Shakur and Keyshawn and everything else. He's trying to make sure these guys are able to get the support they need to have a good career. And now the boxing world is benefiting from that. The boxing world benefits from a Shakur Stevenson being around Terence Crawford or a Keyshawn, especially what Keyshawn had going on recently. He's going to need a guy like Terence Crawford around for his career to keep going, because everybody else that's around him, they looking like, oh, what? I'm supposed to say something to him? So he ain't got no OGs around. So yeah, guys are helping other boxers too. Not in a situation like Canelo where he's running off boxers and Eddie Reynoso got this and that going on and people are looking around like, well, that's not my business. That's not my business. But Terence Crawford, he got Victor Connie and this guy. I put out a video live a couple of weeks ago, and people didn't believe me. Eddie Reynoso still ain't been criticized. I had a live about that last night. The man still ain't been criticized. If y'all want to have a trivia game or do some a scavenger hunt today, try to find some bad news on Eddie Reynoso. That man doesn't have any bad news on him. I don't know if he's El Chapo cousin or what. I might have to go look it up. Maybe El Chapo was his uncle or something. But dudes ain't trying to make no kind of criticism on him. They'll criticize Canelo before they say something about him. I'm trying to figure out who Eddie Reynoso is. They acting like he cartel or something. I'm like, man, his strategy was trash the other day. People like, shh. I'm like, you know Canelo trainer? The Reynoso guy? Huh? I'm like, man, never mind, man. They don't even care. They don't care. They don't care. Canelo he look like he need better training. They don't care. They like, he done, he done, he done. You know how much somebody gotta love a trainer to the point where they like, bro, you don't even need a new trainer. You're done. Let's just go ahead and quit on you. It'll be a waste of time to even just try to make you better at this point. Let's just blame it on your body. Your trainer, we ain't gonna blame your trainer. He ain't have no strategy. Did the same thing he did in the Bivol fight, collecting the biggest check. I mean, I've never seen a dude so relaxed in a $150 million fight. I mean, you finna make $150 million in 30 minutes. And you just in there like, yeah, throw the left hook. All right. Go ahead. Barely can hear this dude. I'm like, that's crazy. Now, if that was Bomac, Devin Haney's dad, when he was against Ryan Garcia, oh, yeah, they was ready to replace him. Ready to replace that guy. Oh, yeah, get him up out of there. Bomac, what if he would have lost to Spence? Oh, yeah, get him up out of there. Reynoso don't get no criticism. That's gonna be a thing that holds a lot of these guys back. They're gonna realize, oh, all the pressure is on me to win these fights. Yeah. They're not, trust me, they're not worrying about these trainers. You're gonna get the blame. That's the thing about having Eddie Reynoso as your trainer. If you have him as your trainer, he's not gonna get any criticism. You're gonna be the one out there getting all the hits from fans about what you ain't doing. But they're not gonna hold him to a standard where he needs to do better and everything else. I can't see him training long like that. Nah, no way. Not the way boxing going now, where you got to fight any and everybody. It's almost like a tournament style. Nah, he's not gonna be able to last like that. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming through, man. I'm trying to come back on later. I see some good news coming out. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming on the live, man. Hanging in there. PDJ, man. Dark Kent.